The war between Israel and Hamas has hit another grim milestone. More than 20,000 people have died in Gaza since October 7th, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza. And according to Israel's Prime Minister's office, 1,200 people have died in Israel since October 7th, with most of the casualties happening on that first day. Israel says about 470 soldiers have been killed since October 7th. Hamas took around 250 people hostage on that day. Around 129 remain in Gaza. Israel says 22 hostages have been killed, with Hamas holding their bodies. And the Israeli military says it accidentally killed 3 Israeli hostages last week. It's a challenge in any mass casualty situation, whether it be a war or a natural disaster or a mass shooting, to accurately count the number of people killed. When you factor in consistent bombing, ground fighting, crumbling infrastructure, depleting resources, hospitals caught in the crossfire, and 2 governing factions that are not 100% forthcoming with their information, that challenge is amplified. That's what we're seeing in Gaza and Israel right now. As a news organization, there are certain mechanisms we use to verify death tolls. There's a formula behind how we decide what information is reportable, and I want to walk you through some of that process. This is an active war. Neither NBC staff nor even a consortium of journalists can physically be on the ground counting and identifying bodies. Like in any other conflict, including in Ukraine, we rely on information provided by governments, which means, in this case, relying on information provided by the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry and from the Israeli Defense Forces. Let's start with the figures coming out of Gaza. The NBC News Standards and Practices team considers the Gaza Health Ministry's figures on deaths to be reliable for a few reasons. The United Nations World Health Organization and other trusted international human rights groups rely on these numbers. These groups have said they have no reason not to believe the health ministry's figures. These organizations have found that Gaza's numbers have been accurate in past conflicts. Historically, past conflict numbers from the IDF stack up to the figures released by the Gaza Health Ministry. After the last 2 major conflicts in 2009 and 2014, you can see the numbers provided by the IDF are actually very similar to those provided by the Gaza Health Ministry. They're not exactly the same, but they tend to be quite similar. Additionally, the Gaza Health Ministry's counts have largely been consistent with the UN's personal tallies in those prior conflicts. So whenever you think of Hamas, history suggests that they don't exaggerate the number of casualties that result from their conflicts with Israel. Our standards team also considers the scale of the destruction. Based on the footage of the destruction in Gaza, it's clear that the death toll would need to be on par with what the Gaza Health Ministry is reporting. Now let's talk about how the health ministry counts the casualties. According to the BBC, the Gaza Health Ministry says the figures are recorded by medical professionals at hospitals, and this is a very important point. Healthcare workers say once a body is discovered, the body needs to be taken to a hospital in order to be recorded. So if there are bodies trapped under the rubble, which there certainly are, or if someone dies at the scene of a blast and is buried shortly thereafter, which is relatively common practice in both the Muslim and Jewish worlds, because both faiths prefer that bodies are buried before a night passes, those people are not accounted for in the Gaza Health Ministry's casualty figures. This means the death toll, which has now surpassed 20,000 in Gaza, is almost certainly higher, not lower than that. According to the World Health Organization, only 9 out of Gaza's 36 health facilities are operational at the moment, which means the process of counting the dead has been compromised even further because the limited health facilities available are being dedicated exclusively to saving the living. The Gaza Health Ministry does not provide the cause of death, but describes the dead as victims of, quote, Israeli aggression. Its figures do not distinguish between military and civilian deaths. Gaza's casualty count has been publicly scrutinized by Israel, with Israeli officials saying many of the people killed by the IDF were, in fact, Hamas combatants. At the start of this month, the AFP news agency reported that a senior Israeli official suggested that Israel had killed 2 Palestinian civilians for every 1 Hamas fighter. NBC News cannot verify the ratio of civilian combatants killed in Gaza, though that ratio is at the high end of other estimates that have been published. However, an IDF spokesperson reiterated that figure to CNN and said that it was, quote, a tremendously positive ratio. So, taking the IDF at its word, With 2 civilians killed for every 1 Hamas fighter and using the total of 20,000 dead, that means more than 13,000 dead civilians, which is 10 times the number of civilians killed in Israel on October 7th. When it comes to the death toll in Israel, Israeli officials recently revised their own figures down by about 200. The IDF had originally reported 1,400 Israeli deaths from the Hamas attacks on October 7th, but Israel now says that number is down to 1,200. It has offered no clear reason for the downward revision. A spokesperson for Israel's foreign ministry said the original figure was, quote, an initial estimate. He declined to provide further context, but said that the numbers may continue to fluctuate as remains are being identified. NBC News has previously asked the IDF questions around the precise death toll, including asking for clarity about the number of people considered missing, but not yet confirmed to be among those who have been taken hostage or among the dead. In mid-October, they declined to answer that question. The BBC also recently asked Netanyahu's office how it records the number of Israelis killed on October 7th. Again, his office declined to answer that question. We as a news organization try our best to bring you the most accurate information we can. It's true, we cannot verify the exact numbers ourselves, but that is simply a reflection of the brutality of war. We try to be as transparent as we can, and we hope this explanation helps. The point is this. We believe from Israeli officials that 1,200 people were killed in Israel on October 7th, and we believe from Hamas that about 20,000 people and counting have been killed in Gaza since then.